If you're a perfume lover, you probably have heard about Bianco Latte, because this fragrance has been hyped all over internet, but there is a chance that this is a brand of one perfume, like a pop star that is a singer of one song. I decided to check out other fragrances of the brand that is called Giardini di Toscana and to see if there are any other perfumes that are worth any attention. So here we have 11 perfumes. Of course, the star of the show is Bianco Latte, and I will start with that one, and then I will review the rest. Bianco Latte is translated as white milk. In fact, the perfume is not milk, but caramel. This is really a caramel that is very liquid, that is just leaking, and you have that anticipation of that sweetness. Here your caramel cravings can be satisfied, because caramel note is capturing more than 90% of this fragrance. I don't get any milk in here. I also don't get any honey, so to me it doesn't sound like a mix of milk and honey. It really sounds like caramel most of the time. And when I speak about the 10%, this 10% is a modern amber that sounds like amber and musk and tonka. Also, I get a little hint of plastic here. Most people probably would not even notice, especially that this amber base is very much suppressed by a very strong caramel note that is very well pronounced from the very beginning and lasts till the very end. So it really is meant for caramel lovers. Now let's go to the main set and to other 10 fragrances of Giardini di Toscana. The current owner, Silvia, I assume she's also a creator of fragrances, speaks a lot about the gardens of Tuscany. She speaks a lot about her childhood memories. So when I was going through the discovery set, I was searching for these little memories that she speaks about in each fragrance. But unfortunately, what I mostly found in here is modern ambers. And I say unfortunately just because I'm personally not a big fan of these modern ambers, masks. Ambroxan is just one of them. Giardini di Toscana goes to another level. They experiment with some ambers that I'm not even familiar with. And I have to disappoint you because unfortunately I don't have enough knowledge about the chemistry of these ambers and masks and how they react and interact. I could only tell you what I feel with my own nose. I was quite okay with some perfumes where all these ambers and masks were toned down, and Bianco Latte is one of them. But I was really irritated, I think even somewhere deep in my brain, by some ambers that were just so intense that I had a feeling that some of my brain cells died. It's just the intensity I could not handle. I will start with 2 fragrances that I actually liked, and the reason I liked them is because the chemical amber elements are very subtle, very toned down. The only thing is that I would attribute these fragrances more to the male side. And one of them, it's probably my favorite in the set after Bianco Latte, is Scintilla. Scintilla has a lot of interesting notes in the description, but to me it smells mostly like the skin of pineapple, green Granny Smith apples, and some very delicate, almost transparent and watery woods. There is nothing disturbing about this fragrance. The only thing is that it doesn't project for a long time, but it's quite pleasant. The next one that was also quite a nice surprise is called Colonia Nobile. And usually when I see a word Colonia or Cologne, I'm always a bit cautious. I don't like cologne-like fragrances. Here it's not like an old-fashioned cologne. On the contrary, it's very vibrant, very young, citrusy, juicy. Nothing particularly outstanding about this fragrance, but overall just nice and pleasant. The next 2 that I have in here are the fragrances that have red labels. And these are Rosso Rubino, that has an interesting pyramid, and Rosso Radice. In reality, Rosso Rubino is actually more annoying to my nose because my nose skips all the interesting notes and goes directly to the modern amber base that feels very irritating, very peppery, while Rosso Radice has some interesting floral sweetness, and I'm not sure from where it's coming, but this is the sweetness that actually makes the modern ambers a bit more delicate and soft. The perfume where I was expecting lots of femininity and florals is Shabby Chic. But in reality, I did not get anything I was hoping for. And this perfume smells like old-fashioned cosmetics, like a powder of a grandmother. And I don't like using this expression, but seriously, it smells like a nicely powdered grandmother using the cosmetics and powders that nobody even uses nowadays anymore. The perfume where I did recognize a floral is called Celeste. And it opens up with a very nice note of lime. I really like the way lime is done in here. But then it goes to violet and I start disliking it. It's not a floral violet, but it feels more like violet leaves. And also I get some strange association with this smell. To me, it smells like a stinky bug. So a stinky bug, violet leaves mixed with ambroxan, this is what I get. The fragrance that was the most annoying and the most intense is called Christos. And this one is very obviously masculine fragrance. Maybe some ladies could wear it, but to be honest, I don't even know how anybody with a human nose can wear it, because this is just so intense. It goes through my nose, it goes deep in my brain, it irritates me like very deep in my brain, to the point that I think that some of my brain cells just died smelling it. And the irony is that at the beginning it's not so intense, but it just continues intensifying more and more and more, and it lasts probably like 2 days. I don't even know if I've ever tried a fragrance that is that chemical, that annoying, and that intense. Christos. There is another fragrance in the set that has a name Bianco, and this one is called Bianco Oro, white gold. The name is kind of misleading, does not really give you any idea of the scent. To me, Bianco Oro is the best representation of the DNA of Giardini di Toscana. And by that I mean a mix of modern amber that sounds like woods, like cedar wood, also has a touch of patchouli, and also, which is very typical only for Giardini di Toscana, that I only detect with my nose, is like a touch of plastic. This DNA also includes different level of pepper. Here there's a lot of pepper, and different levels of sweetness. Sometimes sweetness is very small, which is the case here. Sometimes it's really taken to its maximum, which is the case with Bianco Latte. From this point of view, I would say Bianco Latte is not a typical representation of the brand, because the base at Modern Amber was really suppressed by that sweetness, while Bianco Oro is actually the opposite. It has less sweetness, while that Modern Amber woody base is really dominating the entire fragrance. The fragrance where the DNA of the brand is also very dominant is called Blu Indaco. Here we see ambroxan and musk in the base. I would also add amber, cedarwood, patchouli, and this base really comes out almost from the beginning and dominates over the entire perfume. I would like almonds and vanilla to be stronger. Vanilla sweetness is here, but almonds are barely detectable. They are as detectable as they are in Bianco Latte, because there's little almond powder in Bianco Latte. So the same way it is present in here. And the note that I would like to be brighter is frangipani. There's some tropical vibe in Blu Indaco, but it's very subtle. It's a step towards the next tropical creation, Borabora. Borabora is really bright to the point that it is glowing. I cannot wear it in the inside setting. I can only wear it outside. These florals are overly synthetic and annoying, but when I catch them in little whiffs here and there, I do enjoy those little whiffs. So there are some notes that I like in here, but overall that constant structure that remains, those modern ambers with a woody and plasticky feeling, to me they really disturb the florals, and the intensification of florals is done to the maximum. It's too much for me. If you are searching for something tropical and really intense, Borabora is worth checking it out, but I personally would not add it to my collection. I know many more tropical perfumes that are better composed and more harmonious and balanced. I am not here to advertise or to create anti-advertising. If you are into modern ambers and masks, I think this brand might interest you. It's just the DNA of these fragrances was not the right one for me.